Listen, Hina. Could you go into a bit more detail? Tell us more about when you switched the poison and the protein.
How come? That doesn't matter.
This is getting pretty sketch,
Hina.
dude.
Please, I'd like to know too.
Fine.
Waste your time if you like. It's clear that Hina is the culprit. There's nobody else to suspect. Nobody else could have possibly done it.
Go ahead, Hina. Start from the moment you arrived at the chem lab.
Well, right away I went to section C and got the poison.
Wrong.
And is that when you spilled the powder in front of that part of the shelf?
Yeah. When I opened the bottle, I dropped it like an idiot.
I see. Okay then, go on.
So then I moved to section A and got the
Wrong.
protein powder. And that's where I switched them.
But the footprints weren't from C to A. They were from the door to A.
Once
You
I was
were
done
lying.
with that, I took the protein can that had the poison in it and left the room. But I accidentally put the bottle filled with protein powder back on the wrong shelf. And because of that, everything I did got found out. And that's it.
She's a bad liar, dude.
That story you just told. First, you went to section C to get the poison. Then moved to section A to get the protein, right? Meaning you went from section C to section A. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
But if that's true, isn't that a little strange?
Can you repeat that series of events one more time?
Yeah, let me load up
What's
my
wrong with you,
truth
Big
cannon,
Mac?
baby.
You're being awfully pushy.
It's the same thing no matter how many times you hear it. How long until you're satisfied?
How long? Until we figure it out. Until I uncover the full truth of this case. Dude, everyone's gonna be saying I killed her by the end of this trial. Holy shit. Source of the powder, footprints in the powder, powder, summary, and the shelf.
First, I went to section C.
What is footprints in the powder? Does it say where they came from? Appeared only near the leftmost section. So that already
when I
is a
grabbed the
contradiction.
And you spilled some of the powder on the ground in front of the shelf.
Yeah. When I grabbed the bottle, I dropped it.
Okay, and then?
I moved from section C to section A.
No.
And that's where I
False.
switched the powders. Once I was done switching them, I put the bottle filled with the protein powder back in section
That's
A.
also false because that was
Then
in the
I
crime
took the bottle
scene.
with the poison in it and left the chem lab. That's all there is to it.
Honestly, that's enough. How much longer must we tolerate this?
Yakuya, you're getting pushy, bro.
First I went to, that's when I grabbed the poison
Okay,
and you
there.
spilled some of the, yeah.
Okay,
And then I moved from section C to section.
No, that's wrong.
Anybody else want to say they killed Sakura
You
before we're
said you
done
went
with the
to get
trial?
poison from section
I
C,
killed Sakura.
and that's where you spilled the powder, right?
Yeah? What about it?
And after that, you said you moved from section C to section A to get the protein. But the footprints left at the scene were not moving from section C to section A. That contradicts what you just said.
We got 4 more Monokuma bottles to go bash her on the head with, boys. Let's get going.
What?
Then maybe she moved in some weird direction on purpose to disguise her movements?
No, that can't be it. Remember what Hina just said?
Let's flash back to it. It was like 3 whole minutes ago.
What the? Hina, what's the meaning of this?
It was a assisted suicide.
you lied to us. Plain and simple. If you look at the footprints, your movements in the chem lab are obvious. The powder had already been spilled when you came in, and you went straight to section A. So you never went to section C. Whatever you did there, it only involved section A.
Well, you see...
What the? What the hell? What's going on here?
Oh, he's losing his shit.
And the footprints aren't the only
He's like, I
problem
wanted
with
it to
her
be
account.
interesting, but not this interesting.
What?
Before I explain that part, I'd like to submit some new evidence.
Okay,
New
Miles
evidence?
Edgeworth.
Impossible, there can't be.
Are you sure? After all, you're the one that gave it to me.
I did?
You're losing
was
it, bub.
hidden inside the bottle of poison you gave me. I'm amazed you, of all people, would miss such a vital clue.
Look
A
how
truly
smug she is.
grave
Holy
oversight.
shit. Give her a pat on the back.
Just say it already! What is it you think you found?
I found this.
Huh? A piece of glass?
It had sunk to the bottom of the bottle. And the hidden clue was exposed, thanks to you ingesting the powder. I couldn't have solved the mystery without you. So thank you for that.
Oh my god, is she gonna out smug Byakuya? The king of smug?
But, what is it?
Oh, you still don't realize? Well then,
Ooh.
Makoto. why
Oh,
don't
for
you explain
fuck's
it?
sake. God damn it, Kyoko.
Huh?
I thought you were cool for like 45 seconds.
Fine. If you really do know, explain the meaning of that shard of glass.
The shard of light blue glass Kyoko found in the bottle of poison. The Monokuma bottles are red. It's got to be the rec room window.
I got it! It's part of the window from the rec room door, right?
The window?
The window we broke to get in was light blue, just like that. So I think that must be it.
What kind of powder is it that a shard of glass would sink to the bottom, though?
You're right.
Or how did it get
must
there?
Be. Of course, that leads to another question. How did a shard of glass from the window get inside this bottle of poison?
What's so strange about that?
What's strange is that, according to what Hina told us,
Where was it the bottle of poison should have been when I broke the rec room window? It should have been back in section C, right? Isn't that what she said? She said... Yeah, she said she put it back in section C. No, fuck.
shoot!
Shoot!
What's
she say A?
strange is that, according to what Hina told us,
Where was it the bottle of poison should have been? I can't look back at the dialogue. But she said she put the poison back on the shelf,
I got
right?
it.
Yeah. I just had the wrong
the bottle
shelf.
of poison was left on the shelf in the
Whoops.
chem lab. That is what you said, right, Hina? And yet, somehow a piece of glass from the rec room window made its way into the bottle.
Everything Hina told us was a lie?
In reality, that bottle of poison most definitely found its way to the rec room. It was there at least until the window got broken. In other words, when the locked room was unlocked. There's no other way to explain the presence of that glass in that bottle.
And then, once the room was opened, the bottle somehow got moved back to the shelf in the chem lab. Meanwhile, the protein can we found at the crime scene was planted there. That had to be after the locked room was opened. In other words, after Sakura died.
Wait, hold on. You're moving too fast.
Oh, he's losing his shit, dude, when you're moving too fast for Byakuya.
I'll grant you, the bottle of poison may well have been in the rec room when it was locked. But how can you say the protein can was put there after the room was
Ooh,
unlocked?
I know this one.
We already
Ask
know
me,
she was
Kyoko.
given
I
a
actually know
protein
this
can
one.
with the poison inside, right? If that can wasn't there when she died, how did she get poisoned?
You're right. We do need to explain that. But before we do, there's something I'd like to confirm with everyone here.
Huh?
It has to do with the protein can. After Sakura's body was discovered, did anyone move it or trip over it or anything like that?
What are you talking about? Is this some kind of loaded question?
Good
Not at all.
lord, he's lost his
Just answer to
composure.
the best of your ability.
Well, no, not that I remember.
Yeah, me either.
I like the Egyptian theme for the courtroom this time. I just kind of hadn't really noticed until now.
Not me.
Cool.
Same here. Yeah, me either.
Okay then, that settles it. That proves that the protein can found its way to the murder scene after the room was opened.
Oh, come on! How can you say that? How can you know? what I
Guards,
don't
this
know?
man has lost his composure. The reason she can say that is because there's evidence. There's proof that someone brought the can to the room after it was opened. Because there's glass under it, baby. I know this one. I'm big brain. Look, it even says right here. Empty protein drink was found near the rec room door. The container had a label reading Kim A2. The shards of glass from the window that was broken to get into the room were found both around and underneath the container. Look how smart I am, dude. Holy shit.
There's not a doubt in my mind. Until
Dude, the music is
locked room was
speeding
unlocked,
way up.
it absolutely was not
Closing in.
there.
So you're saying someone planted it there after we got the door open?
No. No, that's impossible.
Say it, bitch. Say it.
It had to have been in there the whole time. It had to be. It was in there.
No, that's wrong. You remember how there was broken glass scattered all around the room, right?
Of course. It came from the window you broke to get in. What about it?
Well, those pieces weren't just scattered around the protein can. He also found pieces underneath the can.
What?
And this proves it. It shows that the can must have been put down on the floor after the window was broken. So it had to be after we got into the room.
Look at that face, dude. That's a new Sprite for you right there.
I see. So that's your explanation. Kyoko, earlier when you asked if anyone had moved the can or tripped over it,
If that were the case, that would explain the can being on top of the glass.
So you asked everyone about it to eliminate that possibility right out of the gate.
And that's made everything clear, hasn't it? As long as it was a locked room, it only contained the bottle of poison, and not the protein can. But once the room was opened up, they were switched, and as a result, the protein can wound up in the rec room, and the bottle of poison returned to the chem lab.
if that's all true, then why did Sakura drink the poison?
Kamikaze, baby.
I thought we all agreed she was tricked into drinking it because of the protein can.
No, that's not why. The only explanation is she drank it from its original
An
bottle,
honorable
knowing
death.
exactly what it was.
Precisely. She was alone in a locked room. All she had was the poison. What other possibility is there?
You're saying she drank it knowing what it was?
Dude, if it was a suicide, Monokuma's gonna be so pissed
Such a
that he doesn't get to
ridiculous
punish
fiction
anybody.
Exactly what happened.
Then tell us already. Sorry. Please, tell us.
Before we get to that, we need to clarify one other thing.
By which do you mean I need to clarify one other thing? Because you're gonna be
We
vague.
need to establish who exactly got the poison from the chem lab and took it to the rec room.
It was Hina, right? She took it and gave it to Ogre.
What do you think, Makoto?
The one who got the poison from the chem lab and brought it to the rec room. I think it was Sakura herself.
I got it! I think it was Sakura
Ooh.
herself.
He even quoted me, dude. That's how right I was.
Huh? So Sakura, who was apparently murdered, just poisoned herself? What are you talking about? There's no way!
On the contrary, we know for a fact she went to the chem lab, right to the section full of poisons.
You're lying! Stop lying! Why? Why would you lie like that?
No, it's not a lie. Sakura definitely went to Section C. I have to get Hina to admit that. Powder on her shoes, baby. The moment of truth.
You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! Just let it end already! You're a liar! Wrong! You're wrong! I hate you!
That's not true.
You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! Just let it end already! You're a liar! Wrong! You're wrong! I hate you! You're a liar! I'm telling you, I did it! Do you have any kind of proof Sakura took the poison?
I don't know which one it wants because I couldn't look at, but I got it right. Whew.
Hina, did you know that Sakura's foot had a certain yellow powder stuck to it?
He is gonna end up like Taka, dude.
It
Broken
did?
forever.
It did. The same yellow powder that had been spilled by the shelf in the chem lab. That powder was yellow, wasn't it? So the powder we found on Sakura, what else could it be but the powder from the chem lab?
Wait. So, what was that powder doing on Ogre's foot?
And it was only on her instep, right?
Sakura must have been standing right there where the powder was spilled. So the person who spilled the powder by the shelf wasn't Hina, but Sakura. And when Sakura dropped the bottle, she dropped it away from where she was actually standing, which is how she was able to avoid getting it all over herself. But the powder still got scattered around, and some of it must have wound up on her instep. Is there any problem with my thinking?
But why did Sakura pay a visit to Section C in the first place? The only explanation is that she was looking for poison. After all, that's all that section contained.
No! It was me! The poison! Because I killed her!
No, you didn't kill her.
The one that killed Sakura. The connection between Sakura and the poison, the unsolved mystery of the locked room. There's only one way to explain it. Sakura killed Sakura, dude.
Here's my answer. The one who killed Sakura was Sakura herself.
What? The killer was Sakura?
Wait, so you're saying it was suicide?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it any more than I believe I can fly.
I can't believe it either. Or rather, I don't want to believe it. But when you really think about it, everything matches up. Sakura went and got the poison. She barricaded herself in a room, and she drank it, all so she could end her own life. And that explains why we couldn't solve the mystery of the locked room.
Because of course. She wanted to create the locked
I
room.
got it! The locked room mystery was created by Sakura.
I'm sure she locked herself in so nobody could stop her from doing what she did. She sat there, drank the poison, and breathed her last breath. And the empty bottle of poison rolled around the locked room until we came and opened it. At that point, someone grabbed the bottle and snuck it out of the room. And that was you, wasn't it, Hina? You did it to throw off the investigation, didn't you? When we found her body, you stayed right there near the door. Because you already knew Sakura was dead. And because the bottle of poison had rolled near the doorway.
That's when you picked up the bottle, right? I was too shocked to notice anything. And Kyoko was busy checking the body.
And the more I think about it, the more I realize how unusual your actions were.
I have to go get them. I have to go get the others. On shaky legs, Hina left the rec room.
You said you were going to go get everyone else. But your real intention was to go to the chem lab and switch out the containers, wasn't it? Once you were at the chem lab, you headed straight to the section where the protein powder was kept. There, you took the powder and poured it into the bottle of poison you'd grabbed from the rec room. When you left the lab, all you had was the empty protein can. Thinking about it like that, the footprints make perfect sense.
When you were done, you gathered everyone together. And once you were back in the rec room,
I got everyone. Wah! So she's dead, huh? Sakura's been killed, I see.
while everyone else was
So
focused
many
on
flashbacks,
Sakura,
bro.
you quietly placed the can on the ground. Honestly, I should have noticed. You should have been the first one to run up to Sakura's lifeless body. The Hina I know never would have left her side in a situation like that.
So, Sakura committed suicide. In order to hide this fact, Hina undertook a series of actions to undermine the investigation. As long as you could disguise the truth, you didn't care if we blamed you for her death. That's why you didn't bother to get rid of such obvious evidence, right? The footprints in the powder and the bottle of poison? Vital pieces of evidence, and yet...
So you're saying Hina consciously deceived us to make it look like she killed Sakura?
No! I killed her! I did it!
That's enough, Hina. It's over.
It's not! Nothing's over!
It is. Actually, no. You're right. We have to end this properly.
Sakura wanted to talk to Hiro, Toko, and one other person. Where the Byakuya at? Look at his face. Toko got to the rec room early and hid somewhere in the locker. Act 3, Hiro shows up. He's a scared little Bumby. What was in the Monokuma bottle that Hiro hit Sakura with? That was his was the night, I assume. I mean, it doesn't tell you, but it shows it right there. Haha. What did Hiro try to do to cover up the murder? I'm getting out of here. At that point, Toko, who was in the locker, oh, it's not going to be the same thing 2 panels in a row. She comes out. What did she do with the magazine? She put it back upside down. Passes out. Smashes her with the queen. And then she pieces out. Look at the Wile E. Coyote legs. Or, not Wile E. Coyote, Tasmanian devil leg. What actually killed Sakura came from the Kim lab, right? Chug chug. There was something on the floor near Sakura's body that someone grabbed. Is it that one? Yeah, it's gotta be that one. What was it they switched with the bottle of poison and left on the floor? Alright, I think
Here's
that's
exactly what
correct.
happened. This case began when Sakura asked a number of people to meet her in the rec room. Specifically, those people were Hiro, Toko, and Byakuya. But one of them headed out a bit earlier than the others. Toko. She got there one step ahead of everyone else and looked around for a good hiding spot. And she found it. She crawled into the locker to get out of sight. Then, from inside the locker, she saw Sakura enter the room.
Act 3.
Next to arrive was Hiro. When he got there, He mistakenly thought Sakura was going to try to kill him, so he panicked. Without thinking, he grabbed a nearby Monokuma bottle and attacked Sakura with it. Thinking he'd killed her, he hastily began covering up his crime. He took a magazine from the table and forged a dying message from Sakura. To that end, he wrote down a name. Toko. By writing her name, he was hoping to pin the murder on her. But of course, Toko had witnessed the whole thing. So as soon as the coast was clear, she jumped out of the locker and hid the magazine on the shelf with all the others. But in her rush, she made one little mistake. She put the magazine back upside down. Soon after, she watched as Sakura slowly opened her eyes. She also saw the blood dripping off Sakura's head and fainted. This caused her personality to switch back over to Genocide Jack. When she woke back up, her second personality also saw the blood-soaked Sakura, and she freaked out. And just like Hiro, she grabbed another Monokuma bottle and attacked her.
Bonk.
This explains why there were 2 wounds on Sakura's head. Assuming Sakura really was dead this time, she set about disposing of the evidence. She gathered up the broken Monokuma bottle shards and the queen chess piece. And that explains how Sakura was attacked twice with the same type of weapon. But even after those 2 blows, she was still alive. So then, what was Sakura's actual cause of death? It was the poison that Sakura herself got from the chem lab. She turned the rec room into a true locked room scenario, and then drank the deadly mixture. And there, she took her final breath. Later on, the rest of us discovered that her body was in there. We had to smash the door's window to get inside. But someone already knew what had happened, knew that she had committed suicide. And that same someone quietly snatched the bottle of poison from off the ground. And while nobody was looking, replaced it with an empty protein can. They did all this specifically to place all the suspicion on themselves, in an attempt to guide the trial to a false conclusion. And the one who went to all that effort was you, Hina.
Feels bad, man.
That's the full truth of the case. Sakura took her own life, and you claim to be the killer to hide that fact. Isn't that right?
That's what happened? But, Makoto, how did you manage to... How were you able to uncover the truth that even I couldn't discern?
Because you're a third-rate investigator with a fourth-rate brain.
Huh?
Kaiba. I mean, Byakuya.
You still haven't realized? We don't all act according to calculations and cost-benefit diagrams. That's what makes us so complicated. That's what you don't understand. And that's why you couldn't solve this case. See? Didn't I tell you? When you dismiss other people's feelings,
He has absorbed
it'll
his
always come back
smug.
to bite you in the end.
He has no smug left. A. Hooray! Money, baby. 1,269.